Greetings, everyone. My name is Ryland Engelhart, and I am the co-founder and executive director of Kiss the Ground, the nonprofit, and the co-producer of the Kiss the Ground film. And
hey everyone, my name is Erica Campbell. I work with Ryland at Kiss the Ground. I'm managing the Regenerate America campaign. Super excited to be here today. I'm from Vermont. We are a national nonprofit, though.
And I just wanted to start with, this is my third time in Vermont. I was born here 42 years ago. My mother and father drove up to find their midwife in Lincoln, Vermont, and I was born in Carol Gibson's home in a little log cabin 42 years ago, June 9th, at 7:11 in the morning. And then by 11 a.m., my mother was walking around Price Chopper with me in a sling, and people were saying, "That's a new baby, yeah, born at 7:11 this morning." And she's walking around Price Chopper. So anyways, it's great to be back in Vermont 42 years later and sharing the vision and dream that was put on my heart almost 10 years ago. So I wanted to begin today's presentation with some poetry, Rumi. It's really the thing I love about poetry, and the thing I love about Rumi is that it brings us into our hearts. It brings me into my heart. And really, the message of Kiss the Ground is, how do we fall back in love with our mother? And Rumi is the name of my 4-year-old son, who I feel like all the work that I'm doing now is on behalf of him. And so start some big foolish project. You know, it's really amazing to be here in this space with all these amazing people sharing ideas and stories that awaken our hearts and minds to something else being possible. And that's really the story of Kiss the Ground, was a moment where I was at a conference almost 10 years ago in New Zealand, where there was a panel discussion called, "Can Human Beings Sustain Themselves on Planet Earth?" And the answer from the 4 experts was no. But the last person who spoke was a guy by the name of Sept, and he basically spoke about the relationship between plants, trees, grasses, soil, microorganisms, and the way that we do agriculture. And that agriculture could arguably go from the most destructive system on the planet to the system that could be the great redeemer. And so there I was having this moment of, oh my God, I'm 35 years old. I've been running a vegan plant-based restaurant called Cafe Gratitude in Los Angeles and Northern California and San Francisco, thinking that I really knew everything about sustainability, thinking I knew everything about organic agriculture. And here I'm learning that there's a way to farm, there's a way to steward land that actually can balance the climate. And by doing that, we can take the carbon that's a problem in the atmosphere, and we can actually take those carbons, turn them into carbon glues, carbon sugars, feed those to microorganisms in the soil, and actually create nutrient-dense food. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is the most compelling, hopeful story I've ever seen in my life. And I came back to Los Angeles, and I started interacting with people who I knew were the climate leaders, such as Al Gore and Bill McKibben, and there was no understanding of this concept 10 years ago in their vocabulary, in their communication. And so I was like, all right, this is that moment where I'm being called, I'm hearing a whisper, you're the one that you've been waiting for. And again, I didn't go to college. I don't have any education in soil science. I'm not a farmer. I have no credibility, and yet there's this feeling of, this is possible, and somehow I've been tasked with it. You're it. You get to. So I came back to Los Angeles running restaurants, and my tableside ministry was everywhere I went. Everyone I talked to, I was sharing about the power and the beauty and the opportunity of healing our soil on planet Earth. And so it's kind of counterintuitive. We think farming is producing our food. They're the people who are stewarding the most amount of acres of land on the planet. And yet, in many ways, since the inception of agriculture and the inception of the plow, we've been degrading soil. And that 1/3 of the total topsoil on the planet has been eroded in the last 40 years. Every year, on every acre of land in America, 5.6 tons of topsoil get eroded off. The United Nations has stated, this is a stat from 7 years ago, that we have 60 harvests left. And so the problem of like, oh my God, the way that we are farming is actually killing our land and ultimately killing life on planet Earth, could be solved through, really could be solved through regenerative agriculture. And so I started just gathering people in my living room on Mondays. How are we going, and this is in Los Angeles, Venice, California, how are we going to awaken the world to the possibilities of regenerative agriculture? And so we started gathering community, filmmakers, musicians, activists, and just started whiteboarding. How can we do this? It turns out that I moved into a small little bungalow home in Venice, California, where 2 filmmakers were actually leaving that house. I actually rented it. They were vacating, and I was coming into that house. And their names were Josh and Rebecca Takal. And they were environmental filmmakers who had made a film about fuel that had come out in about alternative fuels 10 years ago and had won at Sundance. And I was like, oh my God, this is the opportunity. We're going to make a film about soil. So they were like, soil? Oh my God, it sounds like the most boring topic for a film ever. And so I just continued to infectiously, enthusiastically share my heart of this is possible, and we have an opportunity to tell a new story and awaken humanity to the possibility of regeneration. Because that was the thing, was like, okay, if our mind could change and we could start organizing ourselves around in the understanding of this new possibility, so much innovation, so much beauty, so much could emerge. So, this is just one, piece of data. Lots of data can be debated, but Dr. Ratan Lal, soil scientist, stated that a mere 2% increase of soil organic matter in the planet's topsoils could offset 100% of greenhouse gas emissions going into the atmosphere. So the opportunity that everyone who eats could participate in the revolution of pulling carbon out of the atmosphere, having it be sucked through the photosynthetic process into our soils and being kept into our ground is an idea whose time has come. And that was the journey of Kiss the Ground and how can we awaken that message. So as I said, Kiss the Ground started in my living room and then my garage. And our sole purpose was to awaken people to the possibilities of regeneration. When we first started, there was 2 organizations using the term regenerative agriculture. This morning, we actually, over the last 2 years, there's been 3 hearings in Congress about how regenerative agriculture can be a key solution to food security and climate resilience. So how did that happen? This is the garage that we started Kiss the Ground at. As many good things have started in garages. That was the Kiss the Ground garage. So this is actually a 2-minute trailer for the Kiss the Ground. Who's seen the Kiss the Ground film? Okay, a few, but we're going to show a trailer. Let's see.
There's so much bad news about our planet, it's overwhelming. The truth is, I've given up. This is the story of a simple solution, a way to heal our planet. The solution is right under our feet, and it's as old as dirt.
All of our soils that are under chemical conventional agriculture are almost completely devoid of microorganisms.
Modern agriculture was not designed for the betterment of the soil.
Fossil fuels are by no means the only thing that is causing climate change. When we damage soils, carbon goes back to the atmosphere.
But when we destroy soil, it releases carbon dioxide.
Biosequestration is using plants, trees, and techniques of grazing and farming to capture carbon and store it in the soil.
We can fix a lot of our climate issues if we bring the CO2 down into a living plant and put it back into the soil where it belongs.
Plants working with soil microorganisms, it seems too simple.
Healthy soils lead to a healthy plant, healthy human, healthy climate.
There could be a way to eat food that heals the planet.
The problem isn't the animal. The problem is where the animals are at.
How do we take waste and repurpose and reuse it, because it's really not waste?
The poop has to stay in the loop.
Compost is just one of a suite of soil-based carbon capture solutions.
We know how to do it. And if we continue to scale over 30 years, we can reverse global warming.
We can get the Earth back to the Garden of Eden that it once was by regeneration. To see biodiversity return to a place that was completely devastated.
That gives me hope.
Our health and the health of our planet are connected.
If you look over here, my neighbor's land that has been chemical fallow, then you look over at our paddocks, you have a diversity of different plant species. Which model do you want your food to be produced from? The answer is pretty simple to me.
I'll make you a deal. I won't give up, and neither should you.
So if you... We have two calls to action. One, if you haven't seen the film, make that part of your homework. And then the invitation for our lab, obviously, is the second call to action. But so basically, we had this idea. Our goal was to awaken humanity, awaken people to the possibilities of regeneration. The film has been seen over 6 million times, over 1 billion media impressions. It's being used all over the world to communicate the possibility of regenerative agriculture. And as an organization, we thought, what can we do next? How can we, there we go. And that's really where Regenerate America comes in. We had this thought of, okay, there is a burgeoning awareness of soil health, regenerative agriculture, and how do we change it out of the idea sphere into the structural transformation and change of system. And so and then also coupled with this idea of, in a polarized world, that soil, the thing that we all stand on, the skin of the earth, is this common ground. Can we find that there is a unification opportunity in our food system, in the way we steward and manage land? And so we've envisioned, as an individual organization, and now we've created a coalition of over 85 organizations who are participating in this coalition called Regenerate America, Soils Our Common Ground, an unprecedented coalition-based grassroots campaign to ensure support for regenerative agriculture in 2023 and beyond. And so the opportunity of today's lab is to look at well, actually, I'm going to allow our amazing policy director, Erica Campbell, to kind of kick us into the next phase of Regenerate America and the lab session. So,
thanks, Ryland.
Yeah, thank you for your listening. Thank you.
Awesome. So we are at a point where we're sort of thinking about this big lever for change, and federal policy has such an outsized growth on the way we do agriculture in this country. And we know one organization can do this alone. We need hundreds and thousands of organizations and businesses working together to make this happen, to shift the way we do agriculture in this country. Just because I saw Annie Rowell sitting in the audience and I see Will Rapp and others in the Farm to Plate Network, we were doing 350 organizations working together to try to change Vermont's food system. So we need to grow this national coalition to an incredible level to really make change. We're not just working to regenerate soils, we're working to regenerate communities and our economies and our health. So our theory of change as we embark on this campaign that launched in May is really to shift the Farm Bill and to center at regenerative agriculture and soil health. It has to be focused on farmers. So we have farmers running this coalition. We have farmers, all the policy priorities really are centered around how to support farmers in this shift. We are looking at entire supply chains, but it is very much focused on farmers. And we have a public media campaign, we have a grassroots action, and we have policy advancement and development. So we're kicking some butt in the policy world already. Since we started this campaign in May, we've already had farmer fly-ins to DC. We're working on marker bills. We're meeting regularly with the leaders of all the ag committees and the subcommittees. We had this morning our whole team in DC at it's actually technically the first regenerative agriculture hearing in the House. There was a recent hearing in the oversight that we actually worked on with Ro Connor. This one we worked on with David Scott, and we had farmers from our coalition testifying, as well as Jeff Moyer from Rodale and some others. It was remarkable, so this part of the campaign is going very well in DC. You can't really do a successful campaign without having a groundswell from across America. So trying to have a presence there in communities. We're getting congresspeople out on farms to sort of show them those aha moments. We are doing soil health events and conferences. We've been having our farmers and regenerative farmers across America show up at the Farm Bill field hearings and doing like videos on that. These are our most liked videos on like Instagram. Who would have known that, like, boring, wonky policy stuff, but people are like hungry for this change at the federal level. And then activating our supporters to like write letters, call Congress, all those things you really have to do to make a difference. And all of this is not going to be possible without this broad scale education and awareness that's needed to really, like, what the hey is the Farm Bill? Why does it even matter to me? What is regenerative agriculture? What do I do about it, right? So it's like educating and then empowering, and that's going to be a big piece of what we're gonna work on today in our session. And if I have a minute more, and I hope I do, a couple minutes more, I would love to play. I might need help with that. This is our campaign trailer.
Today, we are surrounded by the consequences of degeneration: flooding, extreme drought, fires, habitat loss, extreme temperatures, and failing crops. We keep trying to sustain what's broken, but it's not enough. As a farmer, I have hope because the solution is right under our feet: our soil. I know that together we can regenerate America. Regenerative farming starts with rebuilding the soil, but it doesn't stop there. Combining indigenous knowledge, holistic management, and cutting-edge science, regenerative agriculture improves food quality and security, increases farmers' prosperity, and repairs land function, providing countless environmental solutions. So how do we make regenerative agriculture the norm?
The Farm Bill. Despite its name, it goes far beyond farming. This taxpayer-funded bill, costing a whopping $856 billion, dictates how and what we eat, the purity of our air and water, and the management of over half of our nation's land. It impacts all of us daily and future generations to come. The current Farm Bill does not do enough to support all farmers and ranchers in their transition to regenerative agriculture. And each year, we are still losing an equivalent of 4 pickup trucks full of topsoil per acre. My fellow American farmers and ranchers are ready to move towards regeneration, but we need the Farm Bill's resources and support to do it.
Regenerate America is bringing together an unprecedented coalition of farmers, businesses, nonprofits, individuals from every corner of our country and all political stripes. Together, we are making sure farmers like me and the people we feed get as much voice and representation in D.C. as corporate agribusiness. If you believe in a healthy, abundant future
for yourself,
your family,
and your community,
join us in calling for strong support for regenerative agriculture
in the Farm Bill.